happened? Guys?
I don't know.
All right, that's okay. Technical difficulties, who cares? We're live. Welcome to the show, people. This is Frenchie, and with my crew from Schmoes in the North, Mr. Soda, Mr. Dave, Mr. Dan, aka now Maple Dan, apparently. And you are listening, or watching, I should say, to our special bracket edition, where we're going to argue a lot. We're probably not going to agree on a lot of things. And for...
Honestly, at this point, it wouldn't be if we did have technical difficulties. It really wouldn't.
Better late than never, I say. Oh, God. But hey, look, that being said, again, I'll repeat, you are listening to the special bracket edition of Schmoedown Night in Canada. For today's show, we're having Team Off. So me and Mr. Dan, we are Team Poutine. And against what team? What is your name, Soda and Dave?
Teams speaks good. Because we can actually form a sentence.
Okay, so Team Speaks Good versus Team Poutine. All right.
One of us can, anyways.
And look, we are encouraging you to not only like, subscribe, and put on the notifications, but we really want to hear what you think about our rankings. And if you think we're putting it in the wrong place, we're putting it in the right place, we want to hear or actually see your comments. We'll put them on. We'll talk about them. It's definitely going to drive our show. And we just lost Dave. All right.
No, you didn't. Don't worry about my camera.
Phew. Okay.
Nothing to see here. Don't look. Ignore the person behind.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Generic avatar guy. All right. So, how do you want to start this, Soda? Do you want to put it right on, or?
Well, yeah. So this is basically.
We should just explain quickly that, like, our one rule that we've put together is that there can only be 2 factions on any tiers. So if there's already 2 factions on, say, tier B, and we go to put somebody there, we need to bump somebody down to the next one.
And
so
these
there
are
will be an ensuing argument over who to push down.
And these are our tiers that we have designed. Hold on, I'm going to bring that up a little bit. We have champion, contenders, competent, could use a trade, and come back in season 9.
I would ask you maybe to zoom it in just a tiny bit, though.
I will
hit
do my best.
Hold control and hit plus a few times.
Yeah. No, I just got to use the ball on my mouse.
You know what, guys? I love live podcasting with you. It always works out so well.
Says the voice from the mist.
All right, shut up, guys.
All right. So
we thought when you moved, all your problems will be fixed. Apparently not.
And
apparently not.
And apparently,
I'm starting to think it's your computer.
And apparently we forgot to group our cams together in teams. So I would ask maybe so that you drop down with Dave.
Yep. Or I could just do this.
Or you could. Oh, yeah, put me down. All right.
Yeah. You hide under the overlay now, Lou.
This works. We're bookended by jerseys.
Yes, but at the same time, you should put the guy with the jersey that actually you can see people see the jersey, and the guy with the avatar that we don't give a fuck if we see or not on the bottom.
Fine, you.
No, fuck this guy. Guys, this is not okay. We are here to rank and put into tiers the Schmoedown Season 8 faction. See where they land. I am taking control of this rodeo that I've walked into.
All right, Mr. Gray Avatar. All right, so now
see, it doesn't work like this. Actually, no, it does. Never mind. Shut up.
Top and bottom. Shut up, Soda.
It's been a long couple days.
So we're gonna start with corruption. Daniel and Lou, why don't you guys kick us off?
All right, so let's put back the rankings, my friend.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so corruption. I know you're a corruption show, and we're supposed to be a team. do we right off the bat argue for champion, or do we go for contenders?
Let me just take a look. I'm looking at a great, obviously top 4 in the people that championed. Picking up Joseph Scrimshaw as a Star Wars contender after like many rounds of the draft going by is a great pick.
While we're talking, I'm just gonna leave it down.
I like Sean Sullivan and James White. Clee Wiggins and Claudia Dolph showed a lot of promise this year. I hope their sophomore seasons can be even better and build upon what they did. I think I want to say champions just based on like the players on their roster are the players that brought them to the champions here. So it's kind of hard to argue with. Like most of those players are returning players.
Yeah, and for me, there's only going to be one faction on the champions list. I don't want to put 2 because there only can be one champion. I'm torn. We're going to talk about another one. I'm torn between corruption and another one because it goes for what the argument I said before, right? She kept her core that she
but again,
won the God
at this
season.
point, if it's the first one we're going to be talking about, we might as well throw it up there. We can argue other people's merits later, but
yeah,
they're the returning defending champions.
Now, if I can say why to maybe drop them down into contenders over straight up champions. I will come to Montreal and kill you myself, Daniel. But I think the corruption is very front-loaded right now, and I don't mean that in terms of roster spots, because I actually think they did a really good job drafting deep, especially with the Joseph Scrimshaw. And I agree with the James White late pickup was fantastic, but they have between Chance, Adam, and Mike, they all have matches already on the books. And if all of them lose those matches, I don't see those 3 guys getting matches for a while just because once you are one of the top dogs, you only play the top dogs, and the top dogs don't play that often. So I think they have the potential to have a slow start to their season if their early matches don't go their way.
I agree, because that's pretty much the situation they fell into last year. Is they had to wait for their big guns to come out,
but they still won.
That's true. I think it's a situation. I think this is a very similar situation that the Finstock Exchange found themselves in last year, where they had all their big guns. If Dan Murrell loses that match to Bibiani and the Kid, he probably doesn't play again for a while, and then you don't know. And then Roca loses pretty well. I guess he wins his first match. So it's a mixed bag. Honestly, you know what? I'm just trying to play the contrarian.
Yeah,
here.
I see where you're coming from, but I think Chance and Mike both have the benefit of being multi-divisional players, and so like
they were last
Mike's
year
match is in Inner Geekdom, and Chance's match is in singles, and so they could still see more play in the other division.
But Daniel, they were 3 division players last year, and they didn't get utilized till halfway through.
But the thing is, Chance's advancement in Inner Geekdom and the tournaments did bring a lot of points because he could pass in multiple plays. Plus the addition of Collins, the multi-division aspect still is an advantage that they can really,
It is, and especially this year because we are getting more matches in a week.
Exactly.
And it was a managerial decision by Shannon to play her new players and see what they were made of early in the season. Much like the Finstock Exchange led with all their big contenders, and some of them did lose and not see a lot of matches, like Ben Bateman. Now, who's the boss?
Here's what I'll say. Is So when we're looking at the champion contender, champion versus contender, do we feel as though Shannon Drafting has a champion tier faction, which in my opinion is a faction that covers all 4 of its bases in all 4 divisions? Are Joseph Scrimshaw and Sean Sullivan enough to cover her Star Wars base?
You got a point there, but
yeah, because they lost a pretty big Star Wars gun with Laura Kelly.
what they lack in Star Wars, because Star Wars is obviously I'm not gonna go around that. You're right, but what they lack in Star Wars, they make up with Collins. Collins really puts it up, right? I really think
because he's the champ.
Yeah, but at the same time, you still have Chance Ellison and Marisol McKee. Then we're going to go in teams. I say, because it's our pick, we're going to put them in champions. If then you agree, if you guys want to bump it up and take them off and put them somewhere else, we'll argue to see where we put it in the final list.
Okay, I want to bounce off of that. This is what I think we should do. I think we should put them on contenders. Then we wait against the very end. And then we debate out of the 2 contenders who's going to be the champion.
I think there's going to be already 2 contenders on that list. That being said, because usually when the teams pick, they put wherever they want, right? And then they can get bumped off by the other team, which is these guys. So, Dana, you agree we're going to put them champions and see what happens?
I agree with that.
All right, let's put on the list and put them on champions.
Okay, corruption. There we go. And there they are. They're on the list of wrong Zoom. Damn it, that's the one.
All right, so let's stay there for now. Okay, so right now we got champion. Again, just a reminder, people who just joined, because I saw that people have been joining in. This is the tier list. We have champion, contenders, competent, could use a trade, and what the hell are you doing ranking? So right now we put corruption.
Come back next season. It's very important that we say it like that, so it's all C's. Alliteration is fun, Lou.
I know, but it's so small.
We don't want to make anyone too upset. We don't want to make anyone too upset. We do want these people on our show.
True, but come back in season 9 is
try some glad handling, Lou. We all know how good of a kiss ass you are.
We're gonna talk.
Okay.
All right. Not start, bitch.
Ooh. All right. Oh my God. What's the next faction? I'm unraveling at the seams.
Okay. Well, how about we do it in the order that are on the screen? So how about we do the den next?
Okay.
So, you guys pick the one you want. It's your team pick.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do the den next there, Dave.
Okay. I actually really like the den in terms of drafting. I especially think that they're going to be a late season push, because once teams gets up and running, they have so many strong singles players like Alonso Duralde, Ben Goddard, Mark Riley.
You've got
Jader Paramo, for God's sake.
You've got decent ones in Silverstreeny, Preston, Goddard. And then you've got the hot shot from Star Wars, Harper.
Exactly.
Harper's not the saving grace, but the main reason, because I really think he's gonna win the Star Wars Championship this season.
You damn right, Snark. That's how we do it over here. It's in our Canadian blood. Rocky fans. That's how we fight.
Yeah. All right. So, could you do me a favor? Anyone who has a list, could you reiterate all the people on the den right now?
Yeah, I've got it up right now.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it? Okay, you want to do it, Dave?
Hey, Jesse.
Yeah, sure. Paul Preston, Ben Goddard, Thomas Harper, Alonso Duralde, Saul, Mark Riley, Peggy Gubbins, Jader Paramo, Lacey Gillerin, David Del Rio, who I completely forgot was on the den, but that's another killer player.
100%.
And Rachel Silvestrini.
And don't forget Jess Schloff.
Oh, I apologize. My thumb was over her name.
Okay, I'll do this because the 8's not on my phone; it's on my desktop. So,
Fair. Now, like when you look at that faction, you have not only the singles players that I was saying were fantastic, but also Ben Goddard is a Mike Kalinowski, Chance Ellison, Eric Zipper type who's going to be at least good in all three leagues.
Mhm.
He may not have played very often in Intergeekdom, but he had two solid matches last year. And Saul, despite being 0-1 in Intergeekdom, also had a really strong showing.
yeah, none of them are any slouches, and that's the thing. Like for me, these guys are all competent and above.
But it is
See, I would argue for them to be contenders easily. I think this is the definition of a contender faction.
Okay,
for me, and I don't know if you agree that Dan, but for me it's the most balanced because they don't have like, except for Harper, we have a lot of hopes, but we don't know what's gonna give, right? They have Paul Preston, which did okay, but a lot of middle, right? But they have good strengths everywhere, but nothing dominant, nothing under. And for me, that spells competent.
yeah, and they have 2 players each in the. I don't want to call it specialty leagues at this point, but
the reason I'm actually gonna have to disagree with my partner here and agree with the other team because you know what this roster screams to me?
what?
The Vegas Golden Knights. Like a bunch of like second and third line castaways from every team. Nobody believed in them. It's like, oh, we're so happy that we got so many protected players that like we don't need to worry. And then they contend for the Stanley Cup their first season, and then they do it really again the next season, and again the season after that. Like one of the most competent, like kind of it looks like not the strongest roster because there are no true big stars yet.
Well, with the exception of one, Mark Riley.
Yeah,
maybe at this point in his career, maybe
Mark Riley is the Marc-Andre Fleury of these Vegas Golden Knights.
Exactly.
Dude,
Were you listening to like he's the leader? Is he not? Was he been named captain or no? Because I would be shocked if he wasn't.
He should be. But it's funny, right? It's funny, right? Because exactly what I said, and not the one I did before, but the first original Harper one he did with someone else. I think was with Lacey. I did the same analogy, and Riley is the goddamn Fleury of.
Yeah.
But at the same time, else then they're the underdogs, and they might do good because they have things to prove. They're still very well balanced, but nothing, they don't have necessarily a super dominant somewhere, right? Whereas you have Collins that's going to destroy every, like he destroyed before. You have, Shandru, like, yes, you got the champions, but you got other players that are dominant and they're not champions. They don't really have a dominance in their faction.
And I think that'll play in their flavor like Vegas because at least this way everybody shares the workload to a degree. It doesn't all fall onto the same person or the same couple people.
Now,
balance can definitely spread the wealth.
Can I take this opportunity to share with the Schmoedown community at large a phenomenon I've discovered, which I've discussed with Daniel a couple times, and that is the need for the Stacey Howard archetype, where Stacey Howard is a person.
We got our first bribe.
Where Stacey Howard is a player who is gonna win matches, but she is never gonna be a player going for belts. And I think that's no disrespect to Stacey, but that is where she is. And I think that's so important because, like I talked about with corruption, the top guys don't play as much because they only play the top guys. When I look at the Den, this is a team of workhorses, people who are going to get matches and probably win those matches. And when it's about getting points for your faction. This is a faction with almost all Stacey Howards, people who are gonna get those points for you. That's why I'd throw them in contenders right away.
Okay, I'd agree with that.
What do you say, Dan?
I agree with putting them there for now, but I do think there are a couple factions we're going to talk about later that could.
Yeah,
push
same
them
here.
up.
Okay, so
If there won't be, if there won't be as dominant, the other teams as dominant, they might be contenders. We'll put them there for now, but I'm feeling me and Dan are gonna bump them down soon.
Okay.
All right.
I will fight tooth and nail to keep the den there.
All right. So
Fang and claw.
okay. So since Dan, we took your corruption. I would like to, if you don't mind, do the next pick and choose Finstock.
Okay, let's hear your arguments. Where they go?
Interesting.
Okay. Competent. And I'm gonna defend tooth and nail to this because a lot of people are like, oh no, good luck next season, bye bye. They are the unknown factor with the unknown quantity that is moneyballing and with people we haven't have access yet. But they really, really did a lot of studying. I don't think they would have just picked anyone just to pick them, just to make a shock, right? We have been revealed the limitations of the reaction shows that we can get whoever we can get. But there's blind sides, right? So the players that we can get doesn't mean they have zero shot. And more I've been, talking
The
about
Romus
more.
looking at you.
Yeah. And Newman apparently is a phenomenon, and everyone passed over. So, and they figured out that he is someone they need as a component. So that for me shows me that a lot of people miss things, and it's at their advantage. And the combination of unknown, we don't even know what faction, like Dan said with Roka, we don't even know what league they play in. So no one has nothing on them. That is an advantage. And with the combination of Barbarian, Roka, and for me, it just makes sense to not put them on the bottom just because we don't know them. That would be a lack of sighting, just saying, oh, we don't know, and that's it. No.
But
there's something.
I do have one counter argument against that. A little gust in the wind told me something through the grapevine that a couple of these players aren't that good.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know that we can discuss speculation like that, even though, Soda, we can talk about that off air.
Of course.
But it's why I would put them at could use a trade. Because none of JTE, John Roka, Barbarian, that's a pretty good three. Think whatever you want about JTE. But the fact is...
Spoilers.
But and put up a ASG's comment. I'll take the exchange rookies over.
Oh, wrong one.
Well, I mean,
don't diss my boy with Naven, but yeah.
Look, I don't want to get into it, but I'd want to take the suspects top 3 over the exchanges top 3. But for a second point, I do think objectively you do have to rank such an unknown roster below the rest of them. And when we get the suspects, I will also rank the suspects just as low. I think both of them need to be either could use a trade or even come back in season 9 because we don't know anything about them. We need to
exactly. That is the thing.
We need to go off the 3 players we know about. Those are 3 good players, but
for me, putting them on could use a trade or good luck season 9 just because we don't know them would be an error because it's like finding someone stupid because we don't understand what they're saying, right? Just because it goes over our comprehension does not mean that it makes no sense. It makes no sense to us because we
so
don't
what are you
get
saying?
the plan.
You're gonna put them up there with the Den?
Yes, but
no, I'm putting them on confidence.
A full unknown, like most of these people are, statistically, they have a 50% chance of winning at best. If they play a more seasoned competitor, then below 50%. I cannot rank an unknown any higher than that.
Yeah,
I don't know if this changes anybody's thought process, but on the official the Schmodown Live site, when you go to the faction rosters,
you do not know his heart, my friend. You're just basing on a couple of things. The kid got heart and he got the will. Don't count him out. If you want to do it, perfect, not a problem. But it's gonna be your loss, my friend.
And amen.
But here's why I think that. So when you go onto the official rosters on SchmodownLive.com, you can actually, they have announced where all these people are going to be playing.
Yeah, they have.
And here's why I would say I can't put them in competent. I can only put them in could use a trade. Their only Star Wars player is Evan Bushcard or Gold Leader. He is their only declared Star Wars player. And Star Wars is going to be such a big league this year that you need more than one person. Because if Evan loses his first match, then you, as the tier suggests, need a trade because you cannot be excluded from an entire league.
Yeah,
or an entire division.
But also, not to forget, like, and I think AG, you can back me up on this because you're the one who talked to me about him, and I actually put him in the fantasy draft. One of the fantasy draft is Mark Haas. Haas apparently is going to be an amazing.
Wrong one. That's the one I was going for. It's got a point.
Yeah, heart doesn't mean nothing, but it can also mean everything. You need a balance. It's not just going in blind. I'm sure he's doing all the preparation he can, right? But that guy's hungry compared to, like, the other players that know what they know. But I'll do my best. He wants to learn the game from A to Z, and to a point that it's intense. He really wants it. He's happy just to be there, but wants to give his 125%. For me, that's something good.
Thank you very much, Jesse, for that. Thank you.
But yeah, for me, Haas also was a good example that there's a lot of hyper potential. But he's a 2-division player, if I'm not mistaken, and he's definitely one to look out for. So there's a lot of quantities that you never know. But because, it's more of why Finstock chose them. The money balling and doing the tests and all the research that they put under who they picked, all that research, I don't think they would have picked that way if it would have not worked for them. So I really think that I'm not basing the confidence off of the players they have. I'm putting confidence off of the philosophy of Roca and Finstock, that what they believe in.
Hey, but here's the thing, though. We have to put somebody in the could use a trade category. And also because
I think that's where they belong.
Yeah, because the unknown factor, it is the safe bet. I mean, there are other factions that would deliver, in my opinion, at this point in time. Because again, we haven't seen shit. At this point in time, there are other factions more deserving of competent than Finstock Exchange.
Well, here we can always bump them down later. I'll join Louis and vote to throw them in competent.
Thank you. Thank you. I am support.
Yeah, and then here's friend of the show, Chris Lopez. Finstock Exchange is the biggest question mark of this year. We have no idea what they are or aren't capable of. That's why I'm saying the best bet at this point is could use a trade. Now, could that change halfway through? Of course. But right now, I think that's
I think it's specifically could use a trade, and we'll move on. Even though I love a lot of their rookies.
What we could do is this is a tie vote. I say we let ASG break the tie.
Okay, ASG, you want to do that?
Yeah, if you're still listening, we'll talk for a minute more. But ASG, you break the tie, my friend.
And
why don't we just say
Dossier's thick? And
don't just say. Don't just let one person decide. Everyone who's watching right now, put in the chat. Should they could use a trade, or should they be competent?
I agree.
Let's get the engagement up.
Okay.
You got the next minute to decide: are they a C tier or a D tier faction? Could use a trade or competent.
Where do they belong? Wrong screen. Do they belong here? or do they belong here?
Also, if we could go back to that sticky notes comment for a second, it would be like that still implies that it is not Tom Dagnino's dossier, because if it was his, they'd be bar napkins and probably mostly used ones.
But yeah,
To be fair, like if someone had 500 pages of sticky notes, that's goddamn competent. That is some competence I am not even aware
And
of.
a tiny writer.
Also, if someone held on to a 500-page dossier of bar napkins, I'd be equally impressed. They're pretty fragile.
okay. So right now we got two competence, middle and competent. For me, middle is competent. I say hold pat. You give it up to
I think Snark. Are you in agreement that it's competent?
But okay, so right now we got two competent.
Dave.
Yeah, here's an idea.
What?
really, Dave? No,
Let's put them.
you can't comment on the votes yourself.
I have a compromise. We put them in competent, and then for now, we try to, whenever we have two people on the same tier, we try to push one down, and then
Okay.
we can make adjustments later as well.
Okay.
Competent it is.
Yeah, because also that seems
Jesse Swift,
okay.
I see your comment.
There's ASG. His could use a trade as the Den and the Mercs.
Interesting. What did
So,
I
well,
walk
that's
into?
foolish. We're talking
For now,
It's a shit show, Ferris.
pretty much competent for now, but if we have to move them down, we will.
Yep, that sounds fair. You know what, guys? This is what I love about being Canadian. Do you know what I love
Vote
about
leader,
being
vote
Canadian?
leader, I kept my promise. I fought for your faction. All right.
You know what I love about being Canadian? The fact that we all have the ability to like and subscribe to Schmoes of the North on YouTube. And you know what? Turns out that's not just a Canadian trait. Americans can do it too. So if you are watching this video and you have not like and subscribed yet, like and subscribe. Get us to 200 subscribers by the end of the month. We'd love it.
And by the way, if you are liked and subscribed, but you're not notified, what you do and press that notification button, because we're bringing a lot of stuff.
ASG's got a good point. The Den have a bunch of good pieces who would be perfect to trade for real big belt contenders.
That's why they're in contenders.
Yeah.
No, they're not in contenders yet because they could trade for contenders.
The 10, the 10, we put them in contenders, dude.
Yeah, but they could trade for contenders. I agree with ASG.
All right. Soda, I picked last. What faction do you want to talk about next?
Let's do the Stars.
Oh,
Okay.
I love the Stars. They're my 15th favorite faction.
Oh, there you go.
That's a joke. I actually really like the Stars.
We are nice folks.
Just look at their team. Like they have 3 belt holders right now.
Okay, just refresh me their team.
Okay, so you've got Andreyko, Snyder, Damon, Hannah, Burkett, Janine, Bancroft, Felix Morit, Ken Jack, Jeff Lowe, Christy V, and Brittany Young.
See, Jacoby's amazing. And sorry, go ahead, Dave.
This is a stacked team if I've ever seen it. Between Alex Damon Alex Damon, longest running belt holder of all time, and now legitimate Intergeekdom threat.
Yep.
Mark Andreyko and Jeff Snyder playing as good as they've ever played.
And Drake and Snyder cementing last year his claim to being one of the greatest competitors of all time.
I'll say it right now. You know, maybe Snyder is the GOAT. You know, Merle's never beat him.
Coming soon to a showdown near you.
but then also picking up two of the Fan League 4 in Jacoby and Christina V. Brittany Young has been really impressive in her two matches. Zach Burkett is a Dragon Con winner who has just an immense amount of Star Wars knowledge, and Janine the Machine. Like that is competent or above if I've ever seen it.
Okay,
Yeah,
look.
I'd agree with you on that one.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. The arguments you made before, too, for the belt holders, they have, you said, multiple belt holders. So they can only bring in so much points at a time. They would have to rely on the rest of the faction, right? So if you think of the rest of the faction, you got Jacoby, which is really good. And I'm saying really good into the other leagues, right?
Yeah.
We'll see how he adapts. But Elson, that you got Brittany Young, which was okay, but you need those players to really rack up a lot of points to compensate.
Hannah's on the cusp. He has one of the highest accuracy rates in the league. All he needs is a couple wins under his belt, and I think he could get it with these guys behind him.
But he sabotages himself every time.
Yeah, but I think with somebody like Roxy, who focuses on the individual competitor, I think that can change this year.
Not only that, but Alex Damon has not only if he beats the Barbarian, he has a number one contender match on the books right now. And he potentially has, because I believe that it's stupid if he does a 3-way because you're leaving 10 points on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So he potentially has the ability to rack up 20 points by himself, because I believe he will beat Dave Malanta, Kelly, or his wife. I think he beats any of those three, and that's 20 points, and that's just Alex Damon. Any other singles player
That's only 16
has to play.
points. Just
Well, I'm saying he knocks out all these people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Is it not 10?
he would get 1 extra point for a knockout. A championship match is
Is it
7
not 10?
points plus
I
a
thought it was-
defense plus
They
a
changed the
knockout
points
is
system.
9.
I thought it was 10 points for Inner Geekdom and Star Wars.
No, 10 points for spectacular.
You might want to reword this.
Oh,
In Star Wars trivia.
no.
In Star Wars trivia. In Star Wars trivia. Oh no! Cancel Dave. Cancel's called.
Yeah.
It's gone too far. They got Dave.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
right.
but also I don't think Dave I don't think Alex would knock out DiMolanta or Kelly, and I'm not even sure he knocks out Molly. Like,
I think-
she's
Okay, so what are we saying?
good
Are we saying
competitor.
contender could use a trade? What are we saying here?
I'm saying competent or contender. I wouldn't be mad at it.
I go with competent.
I would go competent too.
Hopefully, you have some new underwear in real close proximity there, my dude.
Eat it out. Check your prostate, Jay.
You know what?
I think he did.
That's just a good lesson. All men, as you get up there, go do your prostate check.
Yeah.
But I think actually, weirdly, we're all in agreement. Just competent.
Yeah.
I think this is a very competent action. I think the only thing holding them back from being better is the team league being on hold right now. I don't know how much play and Draco's going to get.
Yeah,
Well,
and
it sounds like
that's
he
the
doesn't
thing.
want to do anything but teams.
Yeah, and you know what? It's all for him.
But that's what you have Jacoby and Christie for, to
Yeah, that's
play the abundance of singles matches while Jeff goes on his title run here.
Yeah, that's true. We got a bunch of Stacey
competent.
Howards.
Yeah.
Competent.
Let's go.
Right on.
And now
in the
here's the thing.
by the way, in the comments, if you guys disagree, agree, let us know. We want your feedback.
Yeah.
It could affect the final rankings.
Now-
This might switch at the end, right?
Now, here's the interesting thing, though. When we now have two factions incompetent, do we put the Stars above the Finstock Exchange? Because they're both in the same tier right now.
I'd say yes because they. I'd say yes because they have more people who are proven than the
Yeah,
Finstock
even
Exchange.
I would agree to that. For me, I want to stay them at competent, but a bit more higher tier than them, yes.
So all I'm saying then is but when we're talking about who should get knocked out of competent, because I think competent will be a very contentious tier, that the Finstock Exchange is who we would be talking about bumping out.
Not for me. The rest is pretty clear, obviously. Me, but hey, that's me. Apparently, I'm nuts half of the time.
Yes, you are.
Personally, I think we should only keep one faction per tier until we run out of tiers and have too many factions. Then we can start.
Then we would move down
and
Finstock to could use trade.
I would move Finstock now.
Here's the thing. I think that's going to happen.
On.
I think that's going to happen soon anyway. So let's just leave it how we have it.
Yeah, and let's not drop the gun. Like, come on, boys. And it's funny. Bring up Ferris Mutana's comment. Contenders, yeah.
Now, who is he referring to?
I think he's referring to the stars.
Stars in general? Yeah, I think, yeah. Because and that's the thing with these tier rankings. Like, you can go up and they can go down depending on how we put everyone else after this.
Yeah, but to be fair, as it says in the title of the video, this is definitive. Any other tier rankings or anything you see, those are wrong. This is the definitive ranking for the history books. All right, Team Poutine, who are we talking about next?
You go ahead, my friend.
Yeah. Who have we got?
Okay, we've got Dungeon, Mercs, Swag, and Suspects.
Bring up the list, bro. Bring up the list.
I kind of want to talk about your boy. Let's go with Swag.
Okay.
All right.
Where do you think they fit?
I like what we've been doing. Soda, could you read through all of Swag?
Oh, I was about to do that myself here.
Daniel, go ahead then.
Yeah, we've got Paulo Yama, Lon Harris, Final Exam, then Chandru Dandapani, Eric Zipper, Laura Kelly, Ace Cabrera, Vinny Mancuso, Haley Fouch, Jen Kemp, Jonathan Harris, Bradley Tingle, and Frank Moran. A lot of returning players, that's a lot of depth on that roster, I think, and also just a lot of people that brought Swag to second place last year. So
yeah, that's a murderous row right there.
Thing is, they lost to Shannon Miller. They had to replace, but they still have Kemp. Kemp is going to be interesting to watch this year. Chandru is, again, in my opinion, going to start and end as the IG winner.
See, I have him losing tomorrow. That's just me.
I did a hot take before. I actually took Chandru in the TKO.
I don't know.
I'm on Soda's side and would never disagree with him.
Obviously.
But you know, maybe I disagree.
Ooh.
Hey, two birds with one stone. I have Chandru losing to Mara, but that lets him get into the tournament and rack up all the points. So,
and you may have lost Shannon Miller, but you picked up Eric Zipper, who we've shown is no slouch. You picked up Laura Kelly, one of the stars in the Star Wars League.
Vinny Mancuso really impressed me. Haley Fouch is a great competitor as well. I'm interested to see more of Frank Moran and Bradley Tingle and Jonathan Harris. We don't know.
Wasn't a slouch a little bit. We saw of him a couple years ago. You get a full season of him. Who knows?
I really think that Winston did a fantastic thing where he took some of the best pieces of all the other factions. He was like, oh, corruption. Laura Kelly played really well. Let me just take her. Oh, Vinny Mancuso and Eric Zipper? Kaiser, you don't need those anymore. Let me see those.
We'll have to wait till Friday, my man. I would put him in contenders.
I would put him in contenders as well.
See, and I know that we're supposed to be on teams and stuff. I almost see this. I am really thinking about putting these guys in champions.
No way.
No, because
hold on. It brings up a point. Based on the point system that is being implemented this year, it seems like they would have been fourth last year.
Here's the thing. They would have, but Paulo Yama is, I think he ran into last year a big issue with not a big issue, sorry. He ran into Chance Ellison before Chance Ellison was like, I'm gonna be the best IG player of all time. And I think Paulo Yama has the potential to be a very strong intergeekdom player. Lon Harris, no slouch in singles. Chandru Dondapani, I agree with Lou. He's probably going to start and end this season as the champion.
Yeah.
Eric Zipper.
Yeah, but you could do either or with losing the belt. You could start the season, go into the first match as champ, lose, and then regain it by the end of the year.
That's true.
But Chandru's a whole different beat. Just for Chandru alone, I think he's contenders. But the fact that there's good potential, and then I don't know. If for me they're not champions by a stretch, but they're not contenders or they're not competent by any stretch. For me, the only place I see them is contenders because they're no slouches, but they're no champions right now.
Here's the thing, Oyama, but just on the also what we got to forget, Jen Kemp, Eric Zipper, these are multi-divisional players. I think they're going to rack up a lot of points. Frank Moran, didn't have a great showing last year, didn't make it into the singles tournament. I believe he lost to James White, but he still played very well. Haley Fouch, a fantastic player. I'd love to see her teamed up with Vinny Mancuso. Let's not
forget Ace, the tournament winner.
Well, okay. Laura's the Star Wars player that I think we should be focusing on. I've made my opinions about Ace
Star
Wars potential.
Do not count Ace.
Don't count Ace out. But
one thing about this roster that I would kind of poke at a little bit is if the teams division got up and running quicker than we imagine. Looking down the roster, I'm not sure what secondary, obviously you're putting Final Exam in, but you have Eric Zipper, Vinny Mancuso, Fouch, Kemp, and Moran, and we don't have much game tape on any of them except for Zipper, and I don't know exactly what level of teams you're putting together.
I think you put together either Eric Zipper and Haley Fouch. You reteamed the Crazy 80 Greats, who's the Boss's first run, they were the team that played them the closest. Or you team up Eric Zipper and Vinny Mancuso. I think those are two very strong players.
I'd go Eric Zipper and Jonathan Harris.
Interesting.
Anyways, because we do have to move on. We don't want this to be a 3-hour stream like the fantasy draft.
Yeah.
I can see your face melt at one point. So that being said, let's rank them. I say contenders. Daniel, what do you say?
I say contenders as well.
Me too.
And Dave?
See, I'd put them in champions, but I'm happy that they're going in contenders. And in contenders, though, now do we put them above or below the Den? I think they go above the Den.
I think they go above Den, yeah.
I'd say above the Den as well.
Oh, my God, yay.
We agree on something.
Great, guys. People are listening to me. It's fantastic.
Well, it's because we don't have to see
you
your
did pay us some PayPal to listen to you,
so Jesse Swift has been in the chat this whole time. Should we just talk about
before we do, just a little reminder. Before we do, just a little reminder for those who just joined in. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, if you haven't liked or pressed notifications, hey, it's free. Just do that. Press a like, press a subscribe. All right, let's go on.
I know where you're going.
To be fair, I have enjoyed edging him to see how long he's going to stick around without us talking about the Mercs, but I'm also fine with talking about the Mercs.
Let's talk Mercs.
I agree, Dave. Yeah. Okay, so we have on the Quirky Mercs this season, William Bibiani, Brendan Meyer, Kevin Smith, Andrew DeMolante, Eric Whiteley, Jesse Swift, my man, P. Nimmy herself, Beth May, Josh Horowitz, Greg Alba, Sabrina Ramirez, and John Humphrey.
All right. I'm so sorry, Jesse. I'm so sorry. Good luck to see you next season 9.
Whoa!
Really?
Okay. Sorry.
I'm so sorry. This breaks my heart. My boy.
Oh, my God.
I'm so sorry. And my boy, the kid, I love him so much. But no.
Okay. All right. someone
Here's what I would do.
use Mike. This is a contender faction, if I've ever seen one.
If this is where I disagree with you, Dan, Dave, I would put him incompetent.
Can I say why I want to put them in contender, and then you can talk me down?
Contender?
Of course.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I had to mute you just for a second.
Because between William Bibiani, Brendan Meyer, you already have a solid singles lineup there. John Humphrey, fantastic in what's it called? Inner geekdom play.
Same with Alma.
This is just.
You have
It feels
two
like the most
fantastic.
incomplete factions.
What? Okay,
We have two
what
hard
are they
hitters.
missing?
But
What are they
okay,
missing?
look. One thing I find it was an error. Okay, Kevin Smith could have been draftable. You could have had someone to really complete. They started with a team and singles force, total force, which is a kid in Bibiani. You cannot replace them. They are the main hold teammates for Quicker Mercs, right? But then you give Kevin Smith, which is a good appearance, but it had against Jericho and the Furt and Flaus, which is. They're good, but not like a real challenge. So it was kind of like he wanted to keep the star on the faction instead of building out a core and building around it. For me, he's building around two players plus a star. Plus he did add-ons which are good, but for me, nothing. It didn't really stand out.
Are you calling Andrew De Milanta an add-on? He has he has a Star Wars title shot.
Look where he got drafted. Everyone's putting him first. He kept dropping because I don't know. Look, I'm not saying they're horrible, but if you're going
He got picked first in the draft after the three signees. That's not dropping.
He was picked 4th overall. What are you talking about, Lou?
And but everyone's putting him first.
That's because that's the order he was technically drafted in.
Yeah.
But also,
here's the thing.
Dave said, he went to the finals of the tournament, and now think about it. He's pissed off. He's hungry. He wants that fucking belt. You've got Pete Nemi, who is the winner of Upset of the Year last year by not knocking out, but beating Mike Kalinowski in the first round of the singles tournament. You've got Greg Alba and John Humphrey, who surprised everybody with their Intergeekdom play. You've got Sabrina Ramirez, who I'm pretty sure wants to come back stronger and hungrier than ever after what happened last year and prove a lot of those asshole fans wrong. I mean, they got a lot of people with chips on their shoulders, and that can go a long way.
Not only that, but Eric Whiteley from Blind Wave, he is gonna just destroy. There's so much pressure on the Dragon Con players right now that people are overlooking him. He is legitimately a font of knowledge. Not to mention, that the moment teams play starts up again, Shazam is going to have a title, a number one contender shot almost immediately. The real rejects are the Wildberries that we need right now until our Lord and Savior's Wildberries come back. They'll
never come back.
They're never coming back, Dave. I'm sorry.
I will murder all of you, and this will become the day.
Wildberries.
I hate you. But here's the thing, Lou, if you're going to say come back next season, you have to tell us what they're missing, and
why.
All I see is a lot of contenders for belt.
You know what? Come back next season might have been a bit harsh for me. Okay, for me, it could use a trade. For me, it could use a trade because again,
then what do they trade for?
Yeah, what do they need?
Replace Kevin Smith. Again, as much as I love the personality, he should have been a free agent signing.
Well, I'd agree with you there.
But that's the thing. But right there, you lose a core of a third person to build around, right? So now you're building around two people, and it's not then that you have two people. Then you have draft picks.
Who is that third core member? That's what you're not giving us. Who is that? Like,
But
not remember, but what area would you plug into that Kevin Smith spot?
Yeah, who do you take there?
We all know Maro. I would have tried to get Riley.
Why? That Riley doesn't make any sense. Then you have 3 singles and teams players already.
All right, but in that case, try to go the Malanta in free. Yeah, you got it before, but for me, something didn't make sense. Like you could get like an IG person. You could have got someone else. He just went with the 2 best players and the most popular one, right? So just for that, building around 2 and having, because that's the thing with Kevin Smith, he's not going to rack up points. He's going to get there.
About?
But not as much. Not as much as other people, just for the fact his busy schedule. He's going to be that guy. He's going to give it special pay-per-view events. But I don't think he's going to be in a tournament. I don't think he's going to be in the throwdowns and here and there. He's going to be there for the big events.
Because that is pay-per-view. He'll be there.
I think Kevin Smith.
Maybe. I can actually see it.
Kevin
in the quarantine
Smith
world, I can see it.
Kevin Smith is the epitome of a Stacey Howard archetype. He's never going to play for a title because he does, but he's going to get those wins. Christian's not going to let Kevin Smith hold a title just because of scheduling. And then you have Dame Malanta and everyone. These are people who are going, and Jesse Swift. These are people who are going to rack up the points. Daniel, tell Lou why he's wrong.
Well, I won't go
listen to our good friend ASP as well.
Yeah, I won't go as far as Lou and say could use a trade. I would put them incompetent though. I do think a lot of pressure goes on to Jesse Swift in the chat over here because like not retaining Mara from last year, and yes, the Real Rejects like John and Greg both did reasonably well in their Inner Geekdom matches. Like John Humphrey got pretty lucky and still lost, and Greg actually did pretty well. Like with some study, they can improve on that.
Thank you. I don't care what you guys think. I think what I think, and that's what.
No, of course, and that's what we respected. But we were coming after you because we were trying to get your version.
Yes, like the pressure is on Jesse, and he's again like I've been saying that I have to rank unknowns at a lower quantity. So while I want to call this team a contender because I love Shazam, I think Dame Malanta is great. I think anyone training with Dame Malanta will immediately underground, so I don't worry about Whiteley. But it will really rest on how does Jesse Swift and the Real Rejects handle the IG division, because that is, if anything, the big weakness on this faction.
See, I'm with Daniel. I would go competent.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'll try to push them. I would settle for competent, but I think they are at the top of competent.
I say bottom competent.
Luke,
can I see the list?
Grounded in this fight.
Yeah, can I see our tiers?
Yeah, I could live with bottom competent, yes. Because, I mean, Finstock was the one we were probably going to bump to could use a trade.
Here's the thing. I'd put them above the stars.
Not me.
Lou, I'm done listening to you. I hate you.
Wait,
I'm still on the show.
Listen,
I don't care.
Listen, I did just say that their weakness is Inner Geekdom, and I'm sorry, I will rank Alex Damon, Brandon Hanna, and Janine above their IG division.
Okay. I hear you.
I
hear you. But if you're
Vince and the Kid are great, and that is a better singles division, but it is only a 2-point division.
Daniel, I'm going to try. I know we have to move on, but I'm going to try to win your vote here. You're going to rank Janine in Inner Geekdom over the people who beat Janine in Inner Geekdom? I just don't see that as logical, man.
Yeah, I agree with Dave on that one, but for the rest, look, if they're going to be competent, they're not beating the Stars.
All right, we're going to move on, and we're going to bump Finstock Exchange down, put the Mercs below the Stars. But I want everyone to know And I'm doing the rest of this podcast under protest. I want that on the record.
Listen, I prefer the Mercs in singles, but I prefer the Stars in Star Wars and Inner Geekdom. So I do rank them a little higher.
Y'all are gonna look so dumb when Eric Whiteley and Andrew Damalanta are crushing it. Y'all are gonna look so dumb. Y'all are gonna look so dumb.
So I don't want to.
Remember, we got inside track on this guy.
I don't want to do the suspects because I'm going to be trying to push them down again. So you want to go with the dungeon, Lou?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so the dungeon, we have Robert Parker, who I can't believe they signed him first over Dan Murrell and Ben Bateman.
I think
Mara
that's more
Kanopic.
dramatic tension.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Mara Kanopic, Molly Damon, Fidio Drew, Whitney Seibold, Y2J, the Ayatollah of rock and roll himself, Chris Jericho, Adam Witt, a resident funny guy here on the guests on Schmodown North, John Hoey, John Flickinger, and Chris Van Vliet. Where do you put these guys?
I'm Thorn because for me, Corruption and Dungeon are champions, and we only can put one, right? And Dan, you're the Corruption show. I'm the Dungeon show. So we might have some inner civil war going on here.
Mean like we've had already this show?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you see, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about the dungeon here is, if anything, this is the only team I would put on the champion tier that is not named Corruption. Because
all right.
I agree with you guys there, actually.
Oh, wow.
Again,
Okay.
I don't know why so many people are sleeping on Mara. I still think the announcement that you're stepping into the Star Wars division when you know that it's evolving this year, you know it's getting wider and deeper than it ever has been. I think that shows a level of confidence in a competitor who has studied and knows her shit. And I think Mara is going to bring some houses down, and starting with Chandrus. And I'm very sorry for Lou. He is so wrong.
Let's not forget how far she took Rachel Cushing when both were sick.
That is still the greatest Schmodown match of all time.
It's top of all time.
It's up there, yeah.
It's funny. I think I've seen that match more than any other match. Because it's the match I show that everyone when I try to here's Schmodown the IG, right? It's that match. That match is a feat on its own.
Yeah, and so think about it. Mara, for all we know, could be close to 100%. Because I mean, even back then, there was a lot of things we didn't know about that we still don't know about. She's training with her, her life partner Dan Murrell. They're on the same faction. Like, come on. The dungeon went from last to right in contender for first just with this off season.
And contender, I think is the operative word there, because I agree. I think this faction on paper had probably one of the better drafts just outside of free agency and being able to sign Dan Murrell and Ben Bateman. But
now, see, here's the thing. I can see Jericho sticking with the dungeon. If anybody can talk Jericho into staying, it is Kaiser.
I don't think so. And
but I'm saying it's a likely possibility.
Jay Wade is completely in agreement with you. I think that might have been the plan. I really don't think it's going to happen, even though he's like a big wrestling guy for Kaiser. I think it's a trade pick. I mean, he's forcing Roxy's hand. And Roxy and Roxy definitely for me, that's why they're could use a trade. Yeah. They're gonna try to get something big for Chris Jericho because Chris is not gonna let go of Chris Jericho. Christian definitely wants him back. But the thing is, if he refuses to play anyone else than Roxy, and he's holding him hostage, Roxy is gonna have to trade big.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I said. I believe I said it back on our faction draft, on our draft reaction show. I think the only problem with the dungeon is I think they have a Finstock exchange season 8 problem or season 7 problem, where if Dan Murrell and Ben Bateman don't do well, or actually, it might be worse if they actually both do well. Because when I was on the Let's Get Ready post draft, it was revealed that for championship matches, the way it's going to work within factions this year is you're not going to be able to play for a championship if your faction mate is holding the championship. So I could easily say Dan beats Snyder and then he beats Collins, and then say Ben Bateman works his way up while you have while Dan Murrell is still champion. I could see Ben demanding a trade, and then you lose. I think Ben Bateman is such an explosive player on your faction that I can't put this faction in champions. I can only put them in contenders because I think they have all the right pieces, but they are also sitting at a place where with the Jericho trade, with the potential of Ben Bateman going off and saying, I'm not doing this because I'm not going to sit on the shelf and wait for Dan not to be champion. I want to be champion now. This is a faction that could fall apart very easily, like we saw the Exchange do.
Yeah, you're right on that. But the thing is, not only people say, "Oh, there's 4 egos with the 5 horsemen." It's not just 4 egos. It was Finstock's main ego versus those 4 egos, right? So now it's separated, and you got 2 strong players with.
If you count Finstock, it was more like 8 egos because he's
there
got
you go.
4 or so himself.
The dynamic is different. It's not going to break up as much, and I think the combination of a Murrell and Bateman is a lot more dangerous than having those 4 together.
And yet a pissed off Murrell and a pissed off Bateman.
But here's the thing: a pissed off Bateman has not performed well in the past. Every time Bateman's been pissed off, he gets TKO'd. He gets TKO'd by top 10. He blows his.
Okay.
He blows
in his career.
No. I'm saying
that guy was the better player.
I'm saying
that's not the same.
I'm saying every time that Ben Bateman has played over emotionally, he's lost. He's blown 2 massive leads to Murrell, and I do not expect Ben Bateman to end this season on the dungeon. And that's again why I can only put them in contenders and put them below Corruption, who I think has a solid base of people who are. I would be surprised if Corruption's faction, the only thing that's changed is somehow Laura Kelly has come home.
You know what? They've kind of convinced me. I think they're contenders, not champions.
Okay, then would they
Listen, I always said it's the only team I would think about putting into champions. But I do really like this roster. I think Mara with her title shot, Damon with her potential title shot with the number 1 contendership. You have Adam Witt and John Hoy, lots of Star Wars depth. I love the singles in Video Drew, as well as Bateman and Murrell at the top end. And then Jericho, which, again, if anyone's going to get him to play who is not named Roxy, their name is John Kaiser. And
we also forgot one player who has a lot to prove after last year, and that's Robert Parker.
No, I think Robert Parker will be Intergeekdom Player of the Year this time next year. But with the expanded amount of matches, I don't know that one division is enough.
No.
Yeah. Well, look. Well, for me, Parker is not done. He's definitely going to go at it, but I still think Shandru is still going to stay champion. But the route might bring him on. We have to make a decision, boys. We have to close this off right now.
Okay, I
Uh,
put them in the swag spot of contenders, so I will go corruption as champion, and then dungeon, then swag, bringing Den down.
bring it up now.
Yeah. Let's do that for now. Let's.
I
Okay,
would
then
put.
when we get we bring it down.
Here's the thing. So I would put, since I'm clearly the most animated about this, I want to just put my piece out there and let you boys fight about it. I would put the dungeon as the number one contenders, then the den, and then bump everyone else down one. So swag goes to competent.
Oh fuck. Oh shit.
I have to disagree with that. I think
I'd put him 2, swag 3, Den would be the one coming down.
Yeah, I think Den's coming down too. Because they did the best draft, like what they had. But if you're looking long run, it might not work as much because it's like I said, the Vegas Golden Knights. That is risky. They're good players. No one going over. I think Den are bumping down, and Swag goes second. Dungeon goes first contender.
Yeah.
Daniel,
So
are you on my side? Daniel, be on my side.
No, I'm sorry, Dave. I would more quickly keep Swag the number one contender and put Dungeon as the second one in contenders and move everyone down.
Here's the thing. So then, based on our rules, Den drops down to competent, meaning the Mercs bump down to could use a trade.
Yes. Should we argue that the Stars should bump down more than the Mercs?
No, I lost that fight already.
Yeah, honestly, I do think the Stars are just a smidge better, but so close that it's hard to argue.
Got a point. Okay, so that brings us to the suspects.
Okay, my name is my boy. I come back season 9. Yeah, it's now. I mean, make more. At first, I was like, "Shit, McQueenie, yay!" and everyone, and then I don't know, man. Something seems off. I just don't see it fruition. There's a lot of good pieces, and again, name is my boy. I love him to death. I see the heart, but I just have a feeling that maybe Sam hasn't learned his lesson from last year.
I agree with Lou. I agree, and I think what Lou means, and correct me if I'm wrong, last year Sam did not draft very well when it came to Inner Geekdom and Star Wars players. And his 3 signees are all singles players. Now, he picked up some amazing pieces in Amaru and Mary E. Wilson.
Murray.
What did I say?
Mary.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Marie Wilson. But I don't think he learned his lesson, and I think he's still putting too big of an emphasis on singles. I would put the usual suspects, and man, this is me and Jay Wade have not got a lot of chances to talk, but I would actually agree 100% with Jay Wade.
No, he's just saying that to piss me off.
No, I actually agree with him.
Yeah, I think they could use a trade, and they could use a trade for a strong Inner Geekdom player, because I'm looking at their board right now. Their only Inner Geekdom player is Amaru. That is the only person who's playing.
Whitney as well.
Oh, sorry.
Wouldn't have been, and he might also be in the Star Wars. He has Star Wars love and knowledge, so it's not official, nothing's confirmed, but he has the potential to be in too. So
yeah, they have it both on the chart.
Yeah,
and
both are on
honestly,
the chart.
I think your best bet is when you decide, like, basically who your team is between Ethan McWeeny and Liz Shannon Miller. That's the third odd one out is the one I would try to trade for. Rather than an unknown, you go for a big IG competitor with one of those.
Can I tell you what is actually my thought about that right now is between Ethan, Liz, and Drew, I don't like teaming any of them up because look at what the most successful teams have been. It's a older, more seasoned player with a younger person. Look at Corruption, Final Exam, Odd Couple, not Odd Couple, sorry. Who's the boss? All of these follow that archetype, and I think Ethan, Liz, and Drew are the same type of player.
See, I would team Liz and Stacy, funnily enough.
Oh, I actually really like that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. But it's you said Stacy's not one of those like wow players. She's a good guesser. She's good, but she's not. Liz, I think, kind of deserves someone that is either equal to her or higher than her. And for me, that would be. I would love to see her with Drew McWeeny. I really would.
Not me, man. Irwin.
Or you see, Irwin kind of makes sense too. And he
they have a long history.
a long history. He said she's the next me, right?
Yeah.
So it definitely could work, but I don't know because I don't want to. Finstalker's not going to see season 9 because again, just the fact that we don't know the players, just because we don't know the players, it makes no sense. There's something about the way they drafted. If they chose those players, it was for a reason. They saw something. They saw the stats. They saw the heart. They saw that they might not be the top players, but they are the ones that can be easily molded into the factory of rookies.
Oh my God! You know what? I hate that I'm about to say this. Soda, could you bring up the faction ranking, the tier list that we have it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would actually put them at the top of could use a trade because I'm reading over their faction list right now, and when we're talking about the teams, Drew McQueen.
Let's not forget this. This is a good point.
That's really good. I don't know that I can. Here's the thing. I don't think I can put them incompetent because. Well, actually, maybe I can with Maureen E. Wilson and Nikki DeMolanta both in Star Wars. I think Stacey Howard.
Nathan, why do you keep jumping over him? Is it just to piss off Lou?
Probably.
It is. It 100% is. And also, when we look at like potential team compositions, when you guys were saying Liz and Ethan, I was like, what does a Stacy Drew McQueenie team look like? And I was like, oh, that's just the family with a better ability to guess.
Yeah, but it won't like it's gonna work until it doesn't. And I think McQueenie needs a Sam equivalent. Needs someone that will give him a shot, not the guy. As much as I love Guy, McQueenie needed a Bateman, not a Guy, right?
No, Drew McQueenie and Stacey Howard could be the Stacey Howard of teams.
No, it doesn't work. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. Okay, we're gonna have to rank it. We are gonna have to rank it. If we don't agree, we're gonna have to let the people of the chat decide. Yeah.
I'm saying top of could use a trade.
I say come back in season 9.
I say bottom of could use a trade.
You know what? Let me just look at this one last time. I'm still not sure about that IG, but I do agree. Like picking up 3 separate Star Wars players, one of which Marie E. Wilson, the most recent Dragon Con winner, and glancing over to the Mercs quickly. The Star Wars #1 contender, a couple of IG sophomores, and an IG rookie. Yeah, I agree with Dave. I'd stick him in the top of could use a trade, and we're pushing the Finstock down to come back next season.
Yes!
You are the
Yes,
worst.
Daniel!
You are the
Yes,
worst
Daniel!
teammate. You are the worst teammate, Daniel. And I chose you.
Now, here's the
Ooh.
thing. This doesn't mean that I think any of these teams are bad. It's just unfortunately the way the cookie crumbles.
It's just for me, it pisses me off. Finstock's at the bottom because again, it goes to like, oh, we don't know them. They might not be the best players, but they have the most potential to grow because they will adapt to the
You're
the
right,
system.
but you can't ignore the unknown factor. You can't ignore that.
Here, like, if I'm being honest, I think
Oh,
all of
Jay,
these
wait,
factions,
shut up.
I think all of these factions are competent or above. I don't think, but the rules we put in place said only two factions per tier. And when the Usual Suspects and the Finstock Exchange both have a lot of rookies on their squad. I believe that Finstock has 8 rookies and Usual Suspects have 7, or it's 9 and 8, something like that. And you look at
8 from Finstock. 8 from Finstock, and the Suspects have 1, 2,
7,
4, 5.
ASG, to go in your comments, Suspect drafted as many rookies as Finstock.
They did.
I
They did.
agree, but I don't think Sam did as much studying. He just got people he thought he was good. Well, you know.
No. The Mercs, Jesse, based on this faction ranking, maybe double check your contract, see what your trade deals might be, because they could use a trade.
Look, I say we because there's certain rankings, we have the team, and Dan, we're gonna have to agree on this. The team has one last say of a bump up or bump down that could not be overruled. And same thing for you guys. You guys are allowed to do so too.
This is also a good point. Suspects rookies have game tape, whereas the Finstock Exchange does not.
Again, for me, doesn't.
Yeah, but
it just means they're not covered. I agree.
It has to be a factor, though. That's
Lou. Can I just say about your idea about one cannot be overruled pick per team? Can I just ask the four of us a legitimate question? Have any of us, with the exception of maybe Swag, have any of us ever agreed with our teammate?
Probably.
Because I don't know that me and Soda have agreed, and I don't know that Daniel has ever agreed.
No, you and me, Dave, you and me have agreed on like 2 or 3.
So I'm really just trying to be nice to Lou right now. He's really trying to get the exchange higher, and like it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad what he's doing.
How about this?
No. The worst part, it wasn't even for Finstock. I'm doing it. Go down. Dan, would you agree that we should put the stars and contenders and put Swag and competent?
No.
Absolutely not.
Damn it.
Yeah, and I will say one thing to Jesse, that if he can promise me that he is like Alex Damon, Brandon Hanna, Chandru, or Kevin Smets in the IG, I'll put the Mercs in contenders right now.
Here's the thing: if he can even tell me that he is, if he can even tell me that he is Eric Zipper good, which after check out our episode on stereo that we did with Jesse Swift earlier on this week. If he's even Eric Zipper level good, because I think Eric Zipper could be the Stacey Howard of the Inner Geekdom.
You and Stacey Howard.
It's Stacey Howard is
the bar though for that type of player.
Stacey Howard is an archetype that is important. Stacey Howard is the reason the Stars got 3rd place. Stacey got many points as John Roca did.
We're gonna do a drinking game. Every time he says Stacey Howard, people drink. All right. All right, but okay. Who do we use it on? Okay, do we keep it as is, Daniel, or do we bump down someone?
Daniel wants to make a 6th tier, which is just the corruption tier. Give a little buffer room.
Well, yeah, because they're not already on enough of their own tier.
Unless we really do it on because you agree for me that Finstock was competent, right? Unless we really use it on Finstock.
No.
No, honestly, like I don't believe Finstock was competent at all. What?
Damn it.
I voted Finstock the lowest draft ever.
Yeah.
I wanted to put them and come back in season 9 before we had other tiers to drop them down into.
I actually think we have a pretty good. I think we have a pretty good ranking right now that everyone except Lou is happy about.
Eh.
Mm,
All right, so
I do enjoy this.
all right, so where did Soda go? All right,
Don't worry about it. Join and drop this out.
but yeah, okay. So our final list, unless someone else than Jesse Swift. Okay. Someone else disagrees with our listing. Let us know. You have around a minute. But for now, we have champions, corruption, contenders, dungeon and swag, competent, den and stars. Oh, Dave, stop it. And could use a trade, usual suspect, quirky mercs, and come back in season 9. Season 9 Finstock exchange.
Yeah,
all
if we
right.
could bring up Malcolm's comment here for a second.
It's true.
Yeah, it's not honestly. His whole squad could prove us wrong. The only reason I ran low is that there is absolutely no game tape on these players. Like
Yeah.
when they come out, they could prove that all of their homework was either successful or unsuccessful. We just can't say anything about something we don't know.
Exactly, which I know for you isn't a factor, Lou, but it does have to be.
It might be my nature because I am always been the defender of the undefendable and the underdogs and the outside the box thinking. For me, I've always gravitated towards those people. So maybe it's just my nature going like, hey, don't count Finstock out because everyone's counting him out. I'm not. So that might just be what's blinding me. Dave, stop it with the then.
No, I'm talking to ASG in the chat.
Stop it. But maybe that's blinding me. I'll be straight up. Maybe that's blinding me, and you never know. But for me, there's something again. I have to go with my gut. My gut was right with Collins. My gut was right with Ace. How far he went, right? And something my gut saying that Finstock. And I don't want to be right in a sense because it kind of makes no sense. But at the same time, it keeps nagging at me that I think we are going to be surprised. I don't think they're going to win, but I think they might be in top 3 and no one's going to see it coming.
Can anyone else quickly think of a second example of Lou's gut being completely wrong? Because I think he said Robert Parker wasn't going to miss a question.
He
Almost.
did say that.
I've been wrong multiple times. Ask my girlfriend.
I know.
I'm always wrong.
I'm just kidding.
Unless I'm not. Until I'm not.
It's really hard to predict just based on the names of the players by name alone.
But again, and this is what annoys me with people saying that. I get it. You don't know the name. So it's like having a hockey team and like, like the Vegas Golden Knights. Like, who are they, right? Like,
Lou, how can you judge something you've never seen?
But that's the thing. It's Finstock and Roca I trusted. It's Finstock and Roca. I think they found people that they can mold 100% to their system. It's not always about do we have the best players or not. It's who can we take, mold, and make sure that they are killers. If they're not right now, if we have a system in place and we have people who are 100% aboard to study exactly that way and learn our ways, I believe into Finstock's and Roca's system, not necessarily on the names on paper.
Okay, but say they do mold them, whatever. That's not going to happen overnight. That's going to happen later down the line. It's not going to be like a corruption thing last year because by the time we got to that point down the line is when Shannon's big guns came out. This time around,
also, if we want to take the last year and even a lot of the previous season into consideration, I'd much rather the Barbarian train these recruits than Roca.
Here's what I'll say. As a Detroit Red Wings fan, I can tell you right now, saying, hey, guys, this is a building year. We have a lot of talent. You know, we're going to do great things. I've been saying that for over a decade. We haven't been
And you
good
know what
since
happens?
2010.
Everyone becomes 40.
No.
Oh.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
on the Detroit factor, the last time they went 40, they won the fucking cup. So I will give them that. And I'm
I'll
talking
say that.
2000.
That was the problem. All of our guys retired after that back-to-back 2007, 2008 years. And we hadn't been
I
good
was
for-
talking 2002. We had Yzerman, Brett Hall, Brendan Shanahan, Luke Robitaille, Dominic Hasek, Nick Lidstrom,
All right.
like veteran players.
So let's,
Sorry.
let's close it up because we're approaching an hour and a half, and we promised we wouldn't do a 2 hour stream this time. 'cause-
You promised not a 3-hour stream, Lou. I got 2.5 hours of nonsense to talk about.
I've been sleeping 3 hours a day because of the baby. Sleep is important.
Okay.
All right.
The thing I would let's look at what ASG says before we go into our final thoughts. They are the perfect squad for rebuilding. It's true.
Yeah,
That's a
but
red- I get that.
Anyways,
as a Red Wings
Builders
fan.
have to start at the bottom.
anyways, well, again, it might be my bias blinding of me defending the undefendable and defending the people everyone's against. I am an underdog in life, so I defend the underdogs. That being said, I completely disagree with you guys, and I can't wait for them to crush and prove everything wrong. And if I'm wrong, well, I won't probably ever hear the end of this. I don't give a shit because I'm getting used to it because of the Parker thing.
Now,
All right.
I think as we sign off, since Roka interrupted my question during the draft special, as we do our sign-offs, I think it would be really cool for each one of us to say who we are going to be supporting this season.
Okay. I'll start. I'm a Dungeon Shill. Go Dungeon as much as I believe in the Finstock. Again, I don't think they're going to win. I believe in what they're doing, though. But go Dungeon fucking go.
Okay. Can we pick the same as someone else?
Are you also
No.
going to do your plug?
Might as well. So you can find me, as usual, on Schmoes of the North. I got the Frenchie Talks About. I got my boy Snark doing his podcast as well every once, I'd say around 3 weeks now. He's discovering something new every day. Every show, I should say, he's getting near 50. He's want to know what the young cool kids are listening to or watching or just discovering. So go check that out. And every Saturday, 2:30 to 4 Eastern, I'm on Speaking of Schmoedown with my man Jay Wade, where I argue even more than I argue with these guys. It is a blast. It's fun. And do not miss that out.
All right, Daniel, we all know who you're going for.
Yep.
Really?
It's always corruption. Corruption is the champions. We're going to remain the champions. We have most of our returning players, almost all of our points getters. Replace Laura Kelly's 3 measly points with Sean Sullivan's 3 points from last season, and we're right where we were last year, baby. Let's go. 2-time. Repeat.
All right.
Anything, I'm nuts.
You're both nuts.
It's a cool
Dave?
thing.
What about you?
Before I give my plug, hey Daniel, is there anything like maybe a show coming up that you want to plug?
Yeah. Very, very soon. We're gonna be dropping on this channel as well as like audio podcast apps across everywhere. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Anchor. I'm on all sorts of things. At the Best TV Show podcast. It's going to be a sit-down conversation with a guest. We're going to go over their favorite TV show and talk about the characters and the themes, and then deep dive into one season about the show and really get to know it and why they love it so much.
I'm sorry, Dan. I cannot take you seriously with sunglasses.
Weird. I can only take Daniel seriously when he's wearing sunglasses.
Still Daniel, no matter what.
Yeah. All right. Soda?
Dave. Let's go Dave next. I want to hear who he picks.
You know what? As much as I agree with everything that Daniel said, I will be supporting the Swag Squad this year. I think they had a very solid base last year, and I think they've only improved. I would be shocked if they are at least not number 2. and that if Eric Zipper is not holding all 5 belts. He also won the free-for-all.
So oh, because I was gonna say, so he wins the team titles on his own.
No, he also won the free-for-all in your fantasy.
They bring back movie fights, and he wins that belt.
Anyway, you can follow me. Nowhere specific right now, except for at Schmoes of the North. Like, subscribe, comment, share on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter at Northern Schmoes. Find us there. It's great.
All right.
I'm going to go, since I'm a Canucks fan, I'm going to have to go near the bottom of the list. I'm going to take the Quirky Mercs.
Really?
They're the most fun team.
You probably just made Mr. Swift his day.
I mean,
He's still watching.
Hands down, they are the most fun team.
So
but winning and losing, that doesn't bother them all that much.
So your brain must have melted when I said good luck to see you season 9, right?
Yeah, a little bit. But also, fuckers took all my picks.
But I don't care. You can repeat. Let's say you can repeat.
No. I mean, okay, because here's the thing. Like, for this sense, I'm going to go with the Quirky Mercs. Personally, I'm rooting for the Dungeon. And also corruption a little bit too, because after Shannon's acceptance speech for Manager of the Year, she completely won me over as a person and a manager. So I mean, that's my proper pick outside of this is Dungeon. My sentimental pick is Corruption. But for this sense, I actually do like the Quirky Mercs roster. I think they are the most fun team. Every time they play, I laugh. So that's why. And then in terms of following me, you can follow me at soda_the_Saxman on Instagram, Twitter. Find me everywhere on here where these guys said. And then you can also find me over my other channel, Media Sweaties Network, where I'm on 3 different shows over there on Thursday nights with Shooting the Breeze, which is just where we sit down with friends on the internet and just talk about stuff. Fridays with the Recap in the Past, where right now we're halfway through How I Met Your Mother, which is my favorite show of all time. Curse you, Matt from Spin from the Reel. And you can also find me over on our flagship show, Get Sweaty, which goes live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern.
All right. So thank you, ladies and germs, for listening to this special edition of Schmo.9 Canada, the bracket edition. All right. So
who blocked Jcast?
Not me.
Look in the comments. It said the Jcast was blocked for 5 minutes.
Don't do that, boys.
I didn't do it.
So who
I didn't do it. I just noticed it.
Daniel.
I'm not even on.
He doesn't have
I have no access.
I didn't do it. Anyway, let's end the show.
Someone did it because I'm not even admin. What, guys? Don't.
Anyways,
all right, but so again, if Jay ever comes back to listen to the show, thank you very much for listening from A to Z. We really appreciate your time. Until next time, bonsoir.
So long.